Going. Yep. Here we are. We were at the end of the game. It's the end of the game, y'all. The last one. Everybody looks so nice today. Everybody looks pretty good. I hope you guys. How's everybody's day going?
Still going okay.
Going all right.
Not too bad.
You know, same old, same old.
Yeah,
Oh.
Right. Every time, I think it seems like every time we get every time that we do one box is, some of the other boxes are doing pretty good, and then one box, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's the Draces, sometimes it's Kyle, not doing that good. But hey, what's going on, everybody? It is me, Sean Tank Top, and we are over here on the Sean Tank Top YouTube channel. I'm in Casa de Tank Top right now, and we are talking WestWorld Wednesdays, the season finale, and I am joined by, as always, below me, the Draces. Say hi, Draces.
Hi, Draces.
Hi. How are y'all doing? And over there to my see, it only took me the entire season.
That's amazing. You did it.
The entire season to do it the correct way. Over here to my right. Yeah, right there. There you go, buddy.
No,
as you know, you know him, you love him. We've been having him on here for the entire season. He's been an absolute joy to collaborate with on these live streams. It's Kyle from Azor, Ahype. Everybody say hi. Kyle.
Kyle Loris. Thank you.
Kyle Loris. Oh, sorry. Forgive me. Right. No, I better get that name right. Otherwise, you're going to come back and make a copy of me and have a copy of me kill me in the final
Wait, wrong way.
Right.
You're shooting the chat, the commenters.
Yeah, right.
The commenters.
Hello, Jerry. Oh, I like that. I like that from Ann over there. Yeah, that's basically how we're doing it. But definitely make sure I keep your name right, Kyle Loris, because I don't want you to come back and then in a stinger of this live stream, you bring back a copy of me to murder me in the final, in one of the final stinger scenes or whatever it is. I think if you guys have seen that, you know that we're doing a full fucking spoiler discussion for everything, the entire season, this entire episode. So I'm sure that you know that, and I'm sure that you're aware of that. But just as a little disclaimer, we're going to be talking about everything, and we will get to that scene in a little bit. But what I gotta say, I mean, season 3, episode 8, Crisis Theory is the name of this here particular jam of an episode that we got going on. Let's talk general thoughts. What did we think of it? What are we thinking, guys? I'll let you, Kyle. I will let you go first. I'll take it to you first.
All right, guys. I'm not as optimistic on this one.
Really? I mean, I remember we kind of gone back and forth on Messenger a little bit, and you're not feeling too great about it. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me what do you think?
I think I had some I don't think it was as bad as the season 8 Game of Thrones finale or anything like that. I just think there was some problems with the writing this season. Lisa Joy, Jonathan Nolan, Lisa Joy, great writers. Don't get me wrong, but the direction, they had to move on from Westworld, which is the core of the show, the parks, all of that. And that was, for me, something that, it was they did pretty well, but they kind of stumbled in a couple of different areas.
Okay.
For me, why did they have William in this season? Really is a question that I'm kind of asking. You know what I mean?
That's a big.
The actor is asking that himself, so
Well, I mean,
Ed Harris was not happy with this season, and it shows. It really shows.
Is that something that he said in an interview or anything like that? I haven't read that. Really?
Because he said he preferred playing the bad guy, and then we got the after credit scene, which we'll talk about after. But just as a whole, I'll say some positives first about the episode, and then Dolores. All of her stuff was fantastic. Evan Rachel Wood, all of her plot line. I thought her conversation with Maeve and her conversation with Caleb. There's 2 quotes that I would literally get in a poster encased on my wall.
Yeah,
free will. It's fucking hard. That's one of the one of the truest things in life that we can seriously think about and be
totally.
Yeah, that's right. You know what I mean? And then the conversation with Maeve, her choosing to see the beauty in things, even though there was such a small amount of it for her to do that. So that was amazing. The best scene of the episode for me was Arnold and his wife. I thought that was just absolutely
was a really good scene. Yeah,
really good scene. All of that. But the Caleb stuff is here. I guess this is my conclusion. The Dolores is gone now, and they're setting up Caleb as the main character.
I think it's Caleb and Maeve kind of are going to be like maybe partners or something.
Yeah, like the 1A, 1B type deal.
Yeah.
And I think that was like such a big, like we got 2 less episodes, which kind of made me feel like the writing was a little bit rushed in certain areas, kind of like a Game of Thrones season 8.
Yeah.
And like some characters really just like William and Maeve kind of just like, I mean, I don't know. Tessa Thompson's character, Charlotte Hale, was great all season, but this finale, honestly, I would give it like a 3 out of 5. I don't know. Here's my final thought on it. I don't know if the show can get any better going forward. Like, I don't know if it has the ability to get any better than what we've already seen.
or that it has an avenue and kind of like a kind of dramatic sort of trajectory that you feel like it could
like the William Charloris, like Pulp Fiction villain type thing, Team Rocket type thing going forward could be like really cool, like murder villain spree type deal. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be really hard for them to top the first 2 seasons. The viewership was down 20% on the finale. For me personally, I was a little bit disappointed with the finale.
Hey, you know what? And that's what, you know, the thing is that like that. So I'll say this going forward because I think I'm tracking with you. I think a lot of people are, Kyle, to be honest. The other thing though is that like as much as sometimes like, you know, a show or a work, you know, can be disappointing and stuff like that, you know, and we've seen this, you know, especially, I mean, 2019 was a masterclass of franchises kind of you know,
shitting the bed.
Yeah, or just like really kind of like testing a lot of their fans like patience and kind of willingness to stick with it and stuff like that. And I think like even so, like coming out of Star Wars, Game of Thrones, and I think to a lesser extent WestWorld, because I don't think that it's nearly on that level. I think it is I think there is some disappointing things.
Like Vincent Castle Serac, for example, like the ending to his story felt really weak.
He turned into a whiny little bitch.
They little fingered him.
They did the earpiece reveal, right? That he was like listening to Rehoboam, and I was like,
it was
super weak.
I kind of
and that was Rehoboam telling me to say that, by the way. Yeah.
Right. That's what Rehoboam. I got Rehoboam right here.
Controversial opinion. I kind of like that because he seemed like such a badass.
Sure.
That the turn to like, oh, he's just a little robot bitch boy, like doing whatever Big Daddy says. I don't know. I kind of enjoyed it, but I'm like, oh, okay, they can't bring him back. Like that has to be, because like, after that, it's like, oh, all of your like badassery is out the window. So it's like you can't bring that character back, and I don't know if they will. But
right, like you can't.
I mean, they didn't show him dying though.
That's what I'm saying, and I'm like, they probably shouldn't bring him back, but yeah, because they didn't show him die.
That was like some snot crying, like remember like in like the Brendan Russ Superman where he was getting beat up. You know, and he was like, no, you're fucking Superman. Like, it was kind of that level of like, Serac was so cool and so awesome. And then he's like, don't destroy Rome.
Maybe I just like to see powerful white men crying on the floor.
and to a certain extent, like, you know, I get it. Like that is like a good part of it in the sense that someone so powerful was rendered, you know, like basic, like he just had everything taken from him.
He was just a
basically from a pawn, like a king and a pawn, like the whole chess match.
He was a puppet, as I think she said.
He was the great and powerful Oz, basically.
Yep.
And they've just ripped the little curtain off, and they're like, oh, it's just a.
He even
with a mustache.
He even could have probably have said the line, "You clinking, clanking clout of collisionless junk," like he was like in referring to the Tin Man because he's dealing with a bunch of Tin Men.
We actually discussed the number 2s taking out the number 1s.
That's true. We did discuss that a little bit. What for one thing? Okay, because Maddie's kind of waiting in the wings real quick, so I'm gonna bring her on real quick before we do that. I just want to know, this is the first time this has ever happened on one of the live streams. My mom is here. Everybody say hi, Mom.
Hello, Mom.
And who else? And you know who else is here? I got someone. We're bringing him on right now. Everybody say hi to Maddie K. Everybody.
Hi, Sean's mom.
Yeah, she's here, man. Oh my God.
He's more excited to see Sean's mom than anyone.
I'm so excited to see Sean's mom.
I remember this isn't technically the first, because the first time when we were doing Game of Thrones, we would show the episode. We'd grab the then we start drinking afterwards because of the amount of stress or frustration that we had with whatever it was that we watched after season 8. And then we would pile into the back room where we would have like rock shows and stuff and do a live podcast. And my mom, the first episode that my mother of Game of Thrones that my mother had ever watched in her life was season 8, episode 5, The Bells. The first time that she
so good.
ever watched the show was when Daenerys is
committing genocide.
When Daenerys goes full Hitler. You know what I mean? Like and it was and I just remember like we had her come up, and it's on our podcast, Watchers in the Bar podcast. You can go back and listen to it. But we call her up and we're just like, and I think somebody prompted us like, "So what'd you think?" And then and she just goes, first thing she's like, "It's really violent."
Now go back and watch all the other.
Oh my God! Yeah, no, that's on our podcast. It's really fucking funny.
Incredible.
But anyway,
a little bit.
Right? Oh my! It was really fucking cute. How you doing, Maddie?
Oh, I'm so good. I just had a very long day at work, and I ran home. And I poured my wine, so I'm doing great.
100%. Absolutely,
cheers, everybody.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers to you at home.
Clink,
yeah, right. Cheers.
Oh,
We got it.
Cheers.
So,
I was
like, what are you doing?
So we'll do. So we've been kind of talking about our general feelings about this episode and the kind of the season at large, so we can kind of see everything back. And we'll since you just got in, we'll kick it over to you. What did you think about this episode, and then the entire season, kind of looking back now that we kind of
this episode, I was like, that's the WestWorld I know. Where was that all season?
No shit, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
No, I loved it. And I really did like this season, but I was just kind of like missing something from like a lot of the characters. Like I was getting all of the Dolores, which Dolores was kind of a miss for me last season. So I was really excited to like love everything that she was doing. However, I was kind of like, Maeve? Bernard? Like, when are y'all getting? Y'all are still late. Are y'all stuck on the King's Road? Like, what's happening?
And then you kind of mean that as in like a slight like read you wrote you, like where you're like, oh, that's the WestWorld where it was a little, you were kind of left a little wanting of some things. Is
yes,
that kind of
absolutely.
What you mean?
I was like, I haven't been like Phil Spector Wall of Sounded yet in WestWorld terms. Yeah. And I'm waiting for like my face to be blown off. And then finally like it was here. And I was like, yes, that's what I wanted. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So you just got in. We're all like, I think all of us kind of got a couple of misgivings a little bit with like.
Oh, I'm right there with you. Trust me.
I know you. I know you are. I know you are. But I was gonna say like, so we were just talking about like some of the things that we liked about it before we got into some of the other issues.
Yeah.
So what was tracking you on the stronger side?
Oh my God, Maeve. And also like kind of realizing, and though the Caleb stuff didn't all work for me, like realizing that Dolores didn't just like, I liked her reason for it, even if I didn't like the reason for it. You know what I mean? Like she picked him because she sniped him. And I was like, okay, I see that. I mean, the reason for the sniping, I was like, really? Like, yeah, that's why. But I understand like the A to B. Like I get it. I just wasn't sold on the A, if that makes sense. But now that I know the A, I'm like, okay, I understand the sleep.
You understand the vision of it, maybe, but you don't really like it.
It's crazy. It's crazy because she said the Judas cow stuff in like the first season, right?
That's
like
true.
who was going to lead all of the cows. We talked about that too, and that was really sweet.
Can we talk a little bit about that scene where of the A scene? Yeah. Is that the 5th park? Is that like training seminar?
Yeah, that's the defense contracts only park 5.
So yeah, I was gonna say, is there a name for that park, or what is the theme of it?
It's just Park 5. I'm sure it's not open to the public, so it doesn't really have like a marketable name. So it would just be considered Park 5 to everyone. However, I'm sure
World.
I was gonna say, I'm sure all of the like armed forces that use it have different names for it across their like countries, and like the Marines probably have a different name for it than the Army, and like vice versa, depending on what they do and what they're trained for, and all sorts of things.
I was just calling it Call of Duty World. Basically,
I was like
Modern Warfare World, basically, you know what I mean, or something like that. Because
COD World,
yeah, right, totally. I mean, like that was okay. So we can kind of talk a little bit about that insofar as like, because a big thing that we were all sort of chewing on and kind of really interested to see and speculating on who it would be who's the 5th host. Yeah, and we got that answer. And what's the 5th park? And I thought that those reveals were going to be kind of just like a little less like meh.
I thought we weren't going to get them this season. I thought they were going to be a next season. I was surprised. I was like, "Whoa, we're doing this!"
Or they were going to like reveal the 5th park, and that's where we're going to have to spend our time, or something like that. But really early on, right after William decides to go fucking hobo with a shotgun on fucking Bernard and Stubbs over there and shit, and then Clarence shows back up.
Lawrence.
Is it Lawrence?
It's Lawrence. Yeah. Or what is his name? Elazo?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. But
Elazo.
Right. Sorry. I wrote Clarence the entire time because I'm an idiot. I'm sorry.
That's so funny. That's so funny. That tracks for you so much.
Right. Lawrence should, he takes his mask off and he reveals himself as like one of these SWAT team members.
Also, wasn't he supposed to be in Berlin? Like what?
Yeah, like
why
all
season he was in Berlin. Why
Kyle.
I'm not so sure that he's the 5th host.
But he's a host.
Yeah, but
he's a Dolores host.
Are we sure about that? I don't know. 100%. I don't know, because I have a feeling that Dolores uploaded herself and we may not have seen the last of her. And
maybe.
I don't know. I have a slight feel like I have a feeling we may have seen the last of Evan and Rachel Wood, but I don't know. I just
I don't think so. I disagree.
Really?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Really?
So
I'll say this. They to your point, Maddie, they have, at least with Lawrence, because he goes like, "Oh, it's another copy of yourself. You're another Dolores," and he never like confirms or disconfirms that. He just kind of keeps like, remember, like he's just like, "We got bigger parts to play." Like he doesn't say, "Yes, I am." Like they never kind of confirm that. And
okay, I'm just gonna stop you right there. Can I stop you right there?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So Dolores never had the key because she gave it to Lawrence. So it has to be Dolores because he's the one that gives Bernard the Halo key, which is the only way he can interface. So he has to be Lawrence.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, there you go. Okay. So
I love you. I just had to.
No, 100%.
Back you down for a second.
But Bernard does say Dolores wanted me to go see her. Go visit her to his wife. And I don't know. I'm still skeptical.
Right.
I'm just saying.
And you have that right. And you have that right. I just want you to know that the show did answer that question for us. So like my problem with the finale, and I've got a couple, to be fair, like I loved it, but I do have a couple, is that like season 8, they were like, okay, and we're here, and we're here, and we're here, and we're here, and they're just expecting you to like make those leaps. And I talked to my dear friend Daphne Olive. She runs a great podcast about Black Sails called Fathom Deep. You should all check it out. But she is now a screenwriter for fun things that I can't talk about. But she is very much like, we talk about storytelling, the art of storytelling all the time. And she's like, I don't appreciate, this is her big complaint of season 8. She's like, I don't appreciate when writers expect you to make the leaps for like outside of screen time. She was like, I think that's bad storytelling because it's not giving you a story. It's giving you data points and making you work for the story.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I kind of felt that way, like with this episode, but a lot of with a lot of the season 3 stuff and some of the season 2 stuff, it's kind of like, wait, where did that come from? And you have to watch it a lot and a lot and a lot. Like, also another thing with, like, there's a thread missing from Lawrence to Berlin that is answered by the fact that if you know the fact that the actor who plays Lawrence, Clifton Collins, is part German, like his dad is German and he speaks German, and so like. That is a leap that my dear friend of the con as well, Joanna Robinson, made pretty quickly because she did her Googles and
I had considered that, but I was like, I don't know, maybe there's like some sort of Delos something in Berlin, like, you know what I mean? I just kind of like the expectation of something. But she was like, there's someone on the credits for the season that I haven't seen yet, that I also know the actor speaks German, and we know that the 5th host has something to do with Berlin. So she was like, it's got to be Clifton Collins Jr.
Interesting.
And yes. So all full credit to her. She did that legwork. God bless her. I love her so much. But
it's weird. I both agree with both of you, because it's like, I get the show definitely, now that I'm like thinking about it, yes, they are like trying to explain why that was the 5th host. But I also want to believe Kyle's theory, where like I would love if the next season they're like, oh no, that wasn't the 5th host at all. Like that would be.
I mean, they left themselves the room to do that.
Okay, I hope they do that. Like, because I was like arrested. I was like, her, like when he was like, and I was like, her, like.
We had so many other big reveals. I think that we were expecting that to be another big reveal, and in some ways, like when we get to the next Song of Ice and Fire book, like there's things that aren't going to get paid off. There was things that happened in Game of Thrones that we didn't get the payoff that we expected. We thought we were going to get, like certain things. You know what I mean? And I think that we've come to expect that. I think we've come to expect with Westworld in a similar type of fashion, where it's like, there's these big reveals, like Fidelity tested Bernard in season 1. We find out he's a host. Like, you know what I mean? Like these types of things. Totally. And I think we kind of expected like some sort of saving grace type of thing.
And to be fair, the past 2 seasons, we got that. Yeah. And so we're just trained to look at the show a certain way by the past 2 seasons, and to their discredit, or to their credit, you know, they were like, this is like, they listened to criticisms of season 2 being too convoluted and brought it back down. However, our expectations were not appropriately lowered, because they were like, well, we're also giving you this. So we're like, okay, cool. Like, what else is there? And that's why I think this episode could only be disappointing on some levels.
Right.
Here's what
like, I think that they like built it up so much that like it was inevitably going to disappoint in some way, big or small, depends on your, you know, like how you watch the show and what you feel is important. It was too wide a spread, which is okay, and I think that's fine, especially since we know that we're getting 1 to 3 more seasons,
2 extra episodes, 2 thrown,
2 extra hours.
Yes.
What were you saying? Absolutely. What were you saying, Dustin? You were having a point real quick.
Oh, I just think that we need a new benchmark. Maybe we should just judge everything against the finale of Dexter. Then we will always be stoked. Because nothing could be as bad as the finale.
Question for the stream.
True Blood would like a word, Dustin.
Yeah, but I never watched it. True Blood was so bad that I didn't eat. I watched everything but the last episode.
You went all the way, and then we're just.
I remember like, nope.
7 seasons and didn't watch the last episode. Okay. I was like, no, I'm good.
I have a question for the stream.
Yeah.
Westworld season 3 finale, Game of Thrones season 8 finale. Which do you like more?
Oh, Westworld's like up here.
Yeah. So I was watching.
Didn't make me angry.
Yeah. So that's why I think I was enjoying this so much more, because HBO has hurt me very deeply, and I was like ready to be hurt again, and I wasn't. And so I was like, yeah, this was awesome.
Show us on the show where you were hurt, okay?
Right.
Like here. Like here,
right?
Here.
Sean, and Chasson has a great comment in chat whenever you want to.
Hold on, what do we got here? Yes,
it kind of highlights some of the stuff that we're talking about now. It says Dolores is not going anywhere. Clementine left with Musashi Loris's head with her pearl. That was like another thing, like Clementine and Japanese armistice. Hanario, like I was like, okay, let's see them too.
We'd still got 2 Dolores like pearls out there
Which is why I think Evan Rachel Wood could still come back at any time.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Tessa's got all those printers. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Could come back, but as we've said, like this whole season kind of was hammering us over the head that all of these Doloreses are their own Doloreses with this whole
so we know autonomy. So we know Dolores Prime is dead. She's just
and that's what I was. That's what I was invested in.
They did the whole yin yang thing, right? They did the whole bed scene, and they wanted to show the stark differences between the black and white. Like,
so also she could have copied it. Like, so here's my thing. She could have copied herself at the beginning of season 3 or the end of season 2, depending on your take, and that would still be a Dolores that I'm interested in following.
Okay.
So it's not like complete white Dolores,
right? But she's been living as like a Japanese man. A Yuzuka boss that changes a girl.
Yeah,
a Yakuza boss that changes a girl. Yeah,
I want to be a Yakuza boss.
Yuzuka is the upgrade from Bazooka, and
fuck that. I want to be a Yakuza boss.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want to
relax. I don't know my mafia. My mafia.
Morgan famously hates ninjas, so
the Yakuza isn't. They're more mobsters.
They're mobsters.
That's true.
They're mobsters. They also are associated with tattoos and colored hair, usually in Japan.
They're very
generational.
Cool.
They've been doing it for like hundreds of years.
We got hold on. Just one other thing we got to say is that we got the moms in it. Sorry, excuse my language. But we got the moms in the chat right now because we have Jules Wallace, aka Sam Coleman, aka Young Hoder's mom, is on the chat via Facebook. Everybody say hi, Jules.
Hi, Jules.
Hi.
I love your son. He's nice.
You made yourself a lovely human there, dear, and we appreciate you for that. So going back to kind of to the
Lost was fine. Sorry, I don't want to start this, but I just saw a comment that was like Lost was terrible and Lost was fine comparatively. Okay,
yeah, sure.
No, on a rewatch, it's not as bad as you remember.
No, absolutely.
No. The so one thing that was interesting. Okay, so going back to Lawrence, and like he shows up and they in the SWAT truck and everything like that. They have that gigantic fucking like bomb is what I'm assuming it was. You know, he called them fireworks and stuff like that and everything. Mm-hmm. And so, but then like this was one thing that kind of goes to sort of some of the things that I feel like even just like there are some unanswered questions, but I feel like even just the way they literally edited and constructed the episode, I feel like kind of hindered it in sort of its impact. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think that. Oh, keep going.
No. So like, but what do we think? Like, because we never really see that bomb go off.
Or do we?
Wasn't that the end? Like the
everything was exploding by the end of it.
Was it though? I mean, like,
yes.
I don't know.
I feel like that was the bomb because it was like all like a Fight Club. And a Fight Club.
It totally was Fight Club.
It was just Fight Club.
So like. Yeah. So like you see that explosion and people are like, oh God, that's Insight. And then like when the riots start happening, like you see explosion. And then when Maeve and Caleb are looking across the bridge and she's like, welcome to the new world. You can be whoever the fuck you want to be. And like there's even more explosions. There was like 8. I counted like 8 in that 5 seconds.
The thing is I think that those explosions are very different to what we see happening in the after credit scenes with Bernard and William.
Right.
They're both in a future where the world is destroyed. I think they try to connect
something, or it seems like right. Well, I guess again that kind of goes to. That kind of maybe goes to my point, and I'll just make this point real quick, and then we'll kind of get out of it. But I was thinking like of just like how they literally kind of stacked up the final scenes of like when Rehoboam like gets like turned off and erased essentially, and then we have that really cool use of like Pink Floyd. Like I really liked it. It was a handsome, good-looking like end scene. Awesome use of music and shit.
Kudos for not doing Pixies.
That's true. Yeah, right.
I'm very tired of the Pixies.
Totally.
I was waiting for it, and I was like, okay, cool.
but I felt like so then they go back and they do the stingers and they do like the like like, because I felt like it was literally in how they stacked up, like the kind of the conclusion. Because what they could have been doing, I feel, because those explosions that we saw, yeah, they're probably Lawrence, but we never even had like a couple of shots like where that you can see him and the guys like loading up a charge or doing something. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't like a lot of like literal like connective tissue to be like, yes, this is all part of the plan and Lawrence is enacting part of the plan. Like we see these explosions and I guess they're his, you know what I'm saying?
It falls back to the problem Maddie was saying, data points versus storytelling.
Yep.
So yeah,
exactly.
that's kind of the main weakness of this finale, where it's like the data points are like fun and juicy and I have a blast watching them. But yeah, you have to like...
You're missing the two people in a room talking to string them all together. Yeah.
They had so much to wrap up in an hour and 15 minutes.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I will say, to be fair, they didn't know if this was going to be a season finale or not, series finale or not. Like if you take away the post-credit singers, that could have been the end of the show and it would have been fine.
Yes, they could.
And so like, also, you have to sort of calibrate that in your math, which I was doing. I was like, as a series finale, I love it. With the stingers as like a midpoint finale, I love it even more. Yeah. So
I mean, it went and like the whole like you could have just done that shot, and you could tell like they probably had shot those scenes with like William and Bernard and everything, just being like, okay, we can if we get a season 4, we can tack those on.
Exactly.
But what I thought would have been interesting, or at least it would have kind of like, you could have stacked it like, what if we would have had intercut with all that stuff was like maybe William getting killed, because it's clearly the next day, and like they also clearly like they turn him into like a Pizzagate type of guy. He's like, do you know what they're doing in there? You know what I mean? Like he's like a crazy kind of guy, like towards the end. Seriously, like
there was so much interesting stuff they could have done with this new William.
But here's the thing: Ed Harris didn't want to do it. He was like, I don't know what I'm playing. I want to be the Man in Black. So they killed him.
You know what's really ironic about this too? The Kid Ford said to William, "Your end is where you began."
Oh,
in the park,
Delos.
Sure.
And we do see William just straight up cap someone in like a hotel lobby.
Yeah.
So maybe his personal growth, like I've come to terms with his personal growth that was what was actually perceived was actually not as, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm with you. I think he's an insane narcissist. Like, I just don't think any of that is there. When he's like, I'm the good guy, I'm like, are you?
But then
that's not how they played him towards the end, for sure.
Yeah, but then we see,
or towards the beginning, or towards anywhere.
but then at the end of last season, they did that after credit scene, and it's clear that the Man in Black is being tested for fidelity. So that confirms that is a host, and that's not William, because William was just killed.
Right.
So like,
so why are they testing host William for fidelity? Are they trying to see if? Yeah, I don't know.
So that's one possible option. The other possible option that they could have used to explain it is William when he was hallucinating Emily, and he was like, am I real? Am I a host? What is happening? Like, it kind of seems like they could have easily folded that into his earlier hallucinations. However, the post-credit scene with Bernard is covered in the same dust that scene is covered in.
Yeah.
So like, I thought that, like, I immediately thought to like Dusty Delos WestWorld, where host William was in, and I was like, what is happening? Like, is this now canon? Like, we don't know. We won't know until next season in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it is going to be 3 years.
It's gonna be 2-3 years for sure. I mean, like, because I remember, like, because it seemed like to Kyle's point, like that they were at least within those scenes of him, like of them really trying to crack that egg that is his brain and figure out like kind of what, like, kind of maybe was the genesis of what made kind of William the way that he was in the park, and then maybe he would emerge a changed man. And they kind of seemed to double back on it a little bit. I was a little, what did we think about him dying? Like what did we think about him actually getting? Yeah, like
I loved it. I love it.
You loved it? I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was.
Why was I watching this motherfucker go through a crisis in his own mind and go through therapy? I just watched him. I wasn't on his therapy session. I watched him come to terms with his childhood. I like went on this journey with him. And then they're just like, oh, all this development he had that, okay, no, you're dead. I hated
it. It felt very Game of Thrones season-esque, like the writing of that part. Like I do understand that, like William didn't make a significant amount of change, therefore he went in there alone and didn't calculate all of these things, and his narcissism led to him being killed type of deal. But it is like a thing where William is a clear fan favorite character, if not the most fan favorite character. So from a writer's point of view, this is a super controversial thing because people are like really, really like a lot. Like I went on Reddit and people hate it. For, like all the William shit.
Well, caveat.
They're like they butchered his character season 2 and season 3.
So what was his character season 1? Just the Man in Black. What William are we left with? Just the Man in Black.
Well, we also got young William in season 1, and we got to kind of see him falling in love with Dolores.
There was a bit of duality there, yeah.
But we didn't know that's what we were watching until the end of the season.
True.
So like I understand that, but like also I don't.
Right. It'll be really interesting to see where they go with the William stuff if it's just the Man in Black. Like, of course, we don't see William dead, but he's dead. Like,
so it's very possible that this William, like Bernard via Arnold, because we spent all season caring about Arnold, and then we were like, oh, he's just never mind. But I don't see why we can't also. There isn't an opportunity for us to also do that next season with William, with the Man in Black into William. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like, I think that there's very possible. It's very possible that he could find the center of Zone Maze. However, to your point, Morgan, I'm very sorry that you loved what was happening. I did not. I was like, it felt kind of wishy-washy to me, because it like felt very much like they wanted him to be like both, and like there was like a struggle there, which could read as like a moral struggle, but kind of just read to me as like a what purpose does this character serve, and what way are we going to go with it? And it felt somewhere in the middle for me between them.
Yeah, I just enjoyed with him was that he thinks that it's this weird duality with William where it's like there's always the hope that you can change, no matter if you've been a shitheel for years, you've been wearing the black hat for years. Yeah. And so we've been on this journey from young William to old William where he keeps getting these loops. And he keeps repeating the same thing, and he almost gets there, and then he's like, oh, he's having a relationship with his daughter. He's pulled back, goes crazy, murders her. And I kind of enjoy watching William get tortured a little bit.
Oh, I really enjoy it.
Again, but it was like this William, that specific William, we've been on this journey with. We put in so much like time in with him. And it's like, no, this new Delos William isn't the same William. He's not the same William. So now
that makes sense to me because I don't have that same relationship with him, I guess. I think that to me, William is most interesting when I am actively rooting against him. Like I'm like, stay away from me! Don't touch Dolores! I hate you! Bah! And so I will get to do that. However, the most interesting William character piece for me was his speech in season 2 when he was like, I thought I had this stain, but the stain has always been me, like that, where that speech that he gives to his wife before she kills himself is like, that was my peak William. So I guess I never saw him as like redeemable or as someone that I wanted to root for. So I was very much like so that's, I guess, like working this out, I was like, that now I understand why season 3 William didn't work for me. It's because that's not what I wanted from him.
Sure.
So I totally respect that. And thank you for leading me to that conclusion.
And it's not what Ed Harris wanted for him either. So
well, the other thing, I mean, because again, like how kind of juicy would it be if we kind of almost had like all of a sudden, what if we had like a William that maybe had come out kind of like maybe reflected on his sins, reflected on his conduct and everything about him, comes out a changed man, only to have to literally like fight himself and these progeny of his own creation of something that he contributed towards. That is a monumentally more interesting story than just like cutting his throat and the Man in Black is essentially Darth Vader to
I will say this,
Charlores is like emperor, but Kyle, you got a point. Like let's
I got to get this out now. So what is interesting though, I will say that this, if they do, let's hypothesize here.
Sure.
The after credit scene, the Man in Black William, he's like, oh, I'm fuck. I'm in the thing. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, fuck, I'm here.
Yeah.
And that William is clearly like, oh shit, this isn't good. Like that. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? He's clearly thinking. So perhaps there is some sort of redemptive thing that happens. You know, we talked about the reverse hero's journey thing, but if they do some sort of thing where they have to do like this, like reverse hero's journey thing, it would be really interesting because like him being a host, he would really fucking hate that. You know what I mean? And him having to like redeem himself as a host, that would be like being in a prison, a literal prison, because like his consciousness would be inside a robot, and he would absolutely hate that. So that would be kind of this interesting thing to see, where we have just this literal printed William Man in Black from Charloris, who is just like, okay, he is just kind of programmed to be that way, versus a William that is kind of fighting like Charloris was earlier in the season.
That could be an interesting
identify with the kind of core loops that William had. You know what I mean? So that,
creating his own autonomy, similar to what Charloris had to do.
I have a question for you guys, which is kind of one of the other problems that I have with the finale, sort of like the premise of the finale, which is that how can we blame, two-part question here. Number one, how can we blame William for who he is if there's a whole AI running all of society? Number two, how do we explain people like Logan and people like William, who are clearly like diagnosed narcissists and manic depressives, like in a world where we shove all of those people into fridges, how do we justify them not being shoved into a fridge?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
But William, how was William not designated an outlier?
How was William not designated an outlier?
No, because he wasn't
designated an outlier. I don't understand.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
It's really because he's so predictable, because he keeps doing the same type of shit.
Yeah, and actually, that's what William hates. Is I think he probably would, in some part of his mind, is like, if he ever knew about, I don't know, did they establish William found out about the outlier program, and
Delos and Inside are different total quadrants. So
but they explained to him, like, they used your blood to find where they shove people like this.
Yeah,
I think it would stick in his craw that like they never tried and shove him in a fridge. Like, he thinks of himself as super important, and like,
you know what?
I wish we had that opportunity for him to realize that.
I just had a realization, by the way.
Yeah.
In the after credit scene in the season 2, after the season 2 finale, William says, "I want," what he says. Oh, where's Sean? Hopefully he'll come back.
Bye, Sean.
Yeah, Sean.
Sean, we hope you come back. So I'll take over the show. Hey, everyone, it's Ahype. I'm taking over. But one thing that was really interesting that William said in this season 2 post-credit scene is, Emily's asking what he wants, and he says, "I want to be able to know that a system isn't telling me what to fucking do, that I have a choice."
Which is so funny.
Which is crazy, right? Because now we see what happens. Now we see what happens in the season 3 finale, which makes me think that Charloris is going to be really shitty.
Well, so here's the thing. Well, I have a point to that. So real quick, we've established that there's an AI running all of human society. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the outlier in the society that the system can't predict is the AI. So now William is an AI like the AI is dead, whatever. So now William is also an AI who is unpredictable and cannot, in fact, so like by becoming a host, he gets what he always wanted.
Hmm.
Okay. Hey, sorry about that, y'all. I just had apparently like our entire like everywhere in the apartment went out. So that's my bad. I'm sorry about that, y'all.
How dare you?
I know, right?
Your little bone got exploded.
Sean, just to recap, in case you didn't hear it, I just brought up the point that in the season 2 finale, after credit scene, Emily asked William, like, "What do you want?" He says, "I want to be able to know that a system can't tell me what to do. I want to be able to know that I have a choice," which is some of the core stuff that we were seeing.
That's been the whole thing that we've
free will versus determinism, right? Definitely. But now we're in a situation where Charloris is in control of him, and we might see a situation where the same situation that Charloris is in now, where William might be like not wanting to take orders from her after a while.
It'd be interesting.
You know what I mean? Like a similar type of thing.
I'll say. Oh, go ahead.
I don't know.
Morgan.
Well, you know what? There is an interesting story here. As much as I thought, I I hated the William stuff mostly because they like kind of jerked us around all season. But that to that point, that actually makes me a little bit more interested because now I'm realizing that this new William, I'd probably be a little bit more invested in his journey because this new William, this host William, he's never like tortured Dolores. He's never done the atrocities.
Sure.
I mean, he's probably going to do some atrocities at first, but it's like only because he's ordered to.
Well, he was built from memories of him committing those atrocities. So
and, like, maybe he, like, if William, I never wanted him to be redeemed. I just like to see him try and redeem himself.
Right.
I found that
which is what he did, which is what he tried somewhat. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I like watching that. So it's like with this AI robot, I actually, if they do redeem him, I'm like, okay, he can be redeemed because he's a host and he's not a free will human choosing to like go buck wild in WestWorld. Because it's like if they redeem the same thing like on Walking Dead when they try to redeem Negan, I'm like, he was making a girl fuck for her like diabetes medicine. And you do not come back from that. He's like, okay, be my wife. But it's like, no, he was making her do sex work for her diabetes medicine. And I'm like, you can't, just because he's nice to little girls doesn't make, you can't redeem that character.
Right. I super agree.
There's characters where they're like, oh, we're going to redeem the bad guy. And I'm like, there's things you cannot come back from. I'm sorry.
I agree.
Can't do it. So it's
You're
like,
right.
William, it would be very hard for me to be like, he's good now. Like,
and see, he just can't come back for me. So we're at different bars on that level.
Yeah,
like not too far apart, but like I'm over it and you're slightly under it.
We got something from Brian over here. I mean, like, what do we think about this? I mean,
I think that Evan Rachel Wood isn't going anywhere, and that we're going to have some version of Dolores in her, hopefully. So
I think that's totally fair. There's two Dolores pearls out there, and they can that's a card that they can always kind of play in this show. You know, we didn't consider like until that reveal, which might have been the coolest kind of twist, like when we realized that all 5 of the hosts were
her arc was amazing this season. Like,
let's
talk about that. I'm so happy.
Let's talk about that. Like, kind of once we get into the kind of the meat and potatoes. Like, once you know she's kind of finally like she's captured.
Oh, now we're in meat and potatoes. Okay, cool.
well, insofar as her, insofar as like the like this is the defining kind of Dolores like moment of the entire like season, and it also, you know, it gave me a lot of things that I was kind of missing. It like because she's kind of been so icy and sort of singularly driven and shit like that. Like when she has that lovely soliloquy, she has that talk with Maeve that I was so sorely missing. We've been talking about it because all her and Maeve have been doing is fighting, and I wanted them to talk for longer than like 5 seconds before swinging an axe into each other's face.
I have a thing about that. If you would like to know. So on Still Watching WestWorld, friend of the pod, Joanna Robinson's podcast, she interviewed Tandy Newton for the finale, and Tandy was like, if you'll notice, Dolores and Maeve only talk when they are in virtual spaces, when they are like robot to robot. They can only fight when they're in human spaces, human to human, like body to body robots, which I thought was so cool and very interesting. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
A nice touch. But like her whole kind of monologue talking about, we kind of got some of those things that like, you know, because I'm all about like a cool, like fucking badass, like Dolores running around kicking ass and taking names and stuff like that. You know, like I think that's cool. It's captivating. It was captivating because because of where she came from, and to kind of get a little bit of that back was really nice. And it made for this lovely kind of character beat towards the end. Once Dolores Prime, that is kind of basically for, you know.
Oh, Anne has a comment that's interesting.
Yeah.
Let me see what we got.
Oh shit. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Okay. All right. Well, then. But
yeah, he's the superstar of the show. Me and Sean were having this conversation. It's like killing off Tyrion. Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage.
Right. Totally. No, but
I super disagree, but I understand what you mean.
Well, Peter Dinklage was the star of Game of Thrones.
Right. Yeah.
Was he?
The best actor.
I mean, yeah.
Look at the
Peter
amount of
Dinklage.
one.
Was he?
He was the first. He was the first name that came up when the credits started to roll. I mean, I think that's fair. That's
Y'all
fair.
are. I'm just messing with you. I'm just doing bits about my Tyrion hate.
Totally. No, but like so I mean, she's going to be coming back in some capacity that she apparently confirmed in Jimmy Fallon. But I think that.
Wait, before you dive into this, so would you have thought at the beginning of season 1, when you're, fresh into the Westworld universe, like that we would have 3 seasons of a show that is like, it's Dolores' show. Like it is Evan Rachel Wood's show.
Sure. 100%.
Truly, it is.
It really is. Like she is the central character. I don't know that I would have thought that going on. I mean, you've got, Sir Anthony Hopkins. Like why, you're like, oh, you've got
right.
but he's not the real star of the show. He's not even in this season.
Yeah.
In theory. I mean, he's kind of in that one scene that Kyle loved, which I did not. But, he's there in spirit. But yeah, it's Dolores' show. So to go into season 4 without her, we're going to see her. I mean, obviously,
I think that's pretty fair.
In some way.
Sure. I could totally. Yeah, I think that's
Musashi Loris's head is cut off.
Yeah. That's there. We got
Dolores, whatever we want to call her.
Lawrence, maybe
whatever you want to call them.
It would be like Seinfeld without Kramer.
Dolores.
Because Kramer was the real star of that show.
Amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. No, but so here, let's talk about another one of the really good scenes that remember when me and Kyle were texting about it. We agreed that was one of the better scenes. And again, like we got to see kind of Bernard take a beat.
Arnold.
Or Arnold, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. But we got to see him like take a beat and really like watch Jeffrey Wright really perform. And it was that lovely scene with Lauren. And I really, really, really enjoyed that scene a lot. Like, let's talk about like what spoke to you about that scene, Kyle.
I mean, it was just, you could cry watching that scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dolores said she rebuilt him from memory. And Arnold had, he had this incredible amount of regret and got Dolores to literally blow him in shoot him in the head.
Yeah.
For all the stuff that he was creating. Right.
Right.
And then we get this kind of, we talked about this really early in the season, this Wyatt Dolores kind of, yin and yang thing going on the whole season. So for that to happen, for her to grant that to him after everything that has happened to her, it's like something that is like, that's like, it was a powerful huge redemption.
Yeah, it was a powerful kind of like moment for sure. Like
they probably know each other better than any other character if we think about it.
I can see that.
Arnold and Dolores.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
I was like, all right, what's her angle? Why is she doing this? What's the? And I'm like, oh no, she's just being nice.
Yeah.
Like she's granting him this grace right now. But I only realized that almost when the show was over.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because I kept waiting for it to be a cog in a wheel of some grand plan. And then the show was over. And I'm like,
that's how she's treated everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're just like, oh no, that was part of her whole see the beauty in things.
Seeing it that way, but I have that one scene, I agree was beautiful in a complete microcosm. I don't think it belonged in the episode at all.
Which one?
Because we didn't earn it, because they didn't give Bernard any reason to have that connection, and it was a beautiful, well done scene.
Oh, the Lauren scene?
Yeah, but it was just it didn't have any purpose in the story arc for me. I thought it was completely out of left field. It was the only thing that Bernard did all season, actually.
Well, the after credit scene changed that for me. Here's because Dolores is in the Sublime and Bernard goes to the Sublime and he comes back. So sure. I think they communicated in the Sublime. Let's
interesting.
Who is Bernard talking to? And
is she in the Sublime?
Yeah.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, she's in the Sublime.
Yeah.
How?
After she gets wiped and everything, she's in the Sublime.
How do we know that she's in the Sublime?
Look at where she is with Maeve.
Oh,
she's in the Sublime.
Because she's talking one-to-one with Maeve when they touch hands. That whole conversation happens when they're touching hands, and then it's over because then she's on.
I swear that she's in the Sublime because Bernard talks about going there, and he's like, okay, like, you know, Dolores talked about the end of the world. I'm going to Sublime. I swear to God, the reason Bernard went there is to talk with Dolores.
Okay, I'm very interested in that because I completely did not take it that way at all. So I chatted with a couple people. Yeah. I will place a drink or 3 on this bet right now.
I'm like all about this bet. In 3 years, we're gonna find out.
She killed the machine. Technically, she uploaded herself in a way. I think she's in the Sublime. I don't know. That's just how I interpret it, and how a few other people, other creators I talked to, interpreted it. But like, I think that's really important then, because he comes back. What did he learn? I mean, that's the big thing, right?
Yeah, we don't know. It's next season.
Yeah. Right. And then William was in the same forge. He was in the forge, and he's in the same future as Bernard. So humongous implications.
That's true. I mean, like, let's get into that real quick, because, like, man, I was half expecting like a Morton Joe to fucking come out of like in it, because it was so dusty and like and it had
Jack. Where is he?
It had like a Mad Max type of feel. Like something clearly has gone down. How long do we think? Let's Price is Right. How long do we think that Bernard was switched off? Because clearly it seems like a very long time.
100 years.
100 years?
A hondo? Flat hondo?
A hondo.
Okay.
What is it? Is it a Benjamin? I don't remember.
Yeah,
right. What is paper money? I don't know.
We don't know what paper money is.
We're not allowed to use it anymore.
I know, right?
Too much contact.
I'm thinking maybe it kind of depends on, like, I mean, because if it's 100 years, unless we do like a split timeline thing or whatever it is, which I don't know how into that
I think they'll go back. I think they'll go back to split timeline.
You think so?
I have a feeling, just because, so William's murder happens in a country that's still functioning and looks pretty clean.
Well,
and
so
not in
the
chaos.
question is, did the riots ever make it out of Los Angeles or California? Yeah. You know, we don't know.
Didn't they release the data like for everybody?
Everyone
or was
across
it
the
sure? Yeah. But do we know how well that, like, maybe in other societies it was received differently? You know,
maybe they were just like, yes, chill, whatever. You know what I mean?
Or in like Saudi Arabia, everybody read their profile and it said they're 2 super awesome people. They're gonna die, you know, just in their sleep, surrounded by their children who love them.
I have a theory, which is the only people that are super mad about this are the super capitalists. You know what I mean?
Probably.
Because that is the only sort of like socioeconomic state that perpetuates free will and climbing the ladder and anything is possible. So
yeah,
just a thought.
There's something to that. Yep. I'm thinking like, if we're going to continue to have, like, if Bernard wakes up and he has to kind of go cavort with Maeve and with everybody else that's still kind of, and Dolores and everybody that's still kind of running in this story, right? If that's happening, it can't be too far along. Like, it can't, because then Caleb is gone. Like, you know, like, it's 100 years, Caleb's dead. You know what I mean? And every alive human character that we have would have been good. So, like, it seems like I'm thinking like some calamitous. I think even in that what was it? There was a prediction that Rehoboam had. Remember, it was like, look at the timeline, you know, and it said like
Solomon had that.
Human extinction in 150 years. Yeah.
Really? Okay. Shit.
Yeah.
So like
75 to 125. I think.
You know what's actually curious about that is Solomon was the first one to have that prediction. 50 years from the current timeline, it says, I have it saved in my computer somewhere. Sure. It says that Solomon predicted that the extinction of humans would happen in 50 years.
He did, which is why his
plan is all more interesting, though.
Right.
think it's WestWorld, and it's gonna be 5 years, and they're gonna let you know because Ramin is gonna do a beautiful piano rendition of David Bowie's 5 years, and then they're not gonna tell you it's 5 years, but they're gonna like end the episode with that, and then all the WestWorld fanatics are gonna like go, hey, did you notice they did 5 years, so it must be 5 years.
Caveat, it's gonna be 1,000 years. And it's going to be like
Vanessa Carlton.
4,000 years.
Is Rose from the Titanic going to be there?
They're going to do a cover of "I Would Walk 5,000 Miles." Is it 5,000?
500.
500 years.
500 miles, and I would walk 500 more to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at your door.
I'm thinking.
Dude.
I think it's gonna be like 5 years. It's gonna be like 5 years. That way you can still keep everybody.
That much dust?
I mean,
have you not dusted for like a week?
Yes, I have. I
sometimes
dust every 6 months, maybe.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Like, but I think like maybe that along with like, because again, we also kind of don't exactly know what the climate's like or whatever it is.
He's in a desert. He is in a desert, isn't he?
Yeah. So, I mean, like that could conceivably happen in like maybe 5-6 years. And that way we're still able to kind of keep, any of the human characters. I think that it would be a wee bit silly to vault him ahead and we have like a future, like a split timeline where Bernard Arnold is like, is doing shit like 100 years in the future, and then we still have to deal with Caleb and Maeve and everybody. I think Caleb's
done. I don't know about y'all.
It could be.
He didn't work. He didn't really work for me this season, so I'm just ready to let him go.
I was fine with it. I think it was just they kind of played him like a little one note, like I'm really serious and I'm really concerned and stuff.
Aaron
like that.
Paul's really good at that.
He is really good at that. Yeah,
he's great at it. I mean, like, and so
that's why they picked him.
Yeah, no, and I think that I would like to see a wee bit more of Caleb. I think that they kind of played to his strengths, but I also think that similar to him and Dolores in a way, like they were a little one note. They were very kind of like written one note where it's like, I got one mode and I got one kind of set of concerns. I would love, I think that to bring him on and not kind of think to give him some more stuff to do and explore some things, I think would be a missed opportunity.
That's how I feel about Serac.
Oh, no shit. I thought that Serac, again, was like, we called it, though, early on in some of the other streams that we did, where it's just like, Serac's like the one and done big bad, which basically seems like that's what's happening, right?
And I know, before this episode, I disagree. I would disagree with you. I would be like, no, like, he has staying power. Like, what is he going to do? We don't know. Mm-hmm. I thought this episode very particularly did an incredible job of saying, oh, this is the dude that you thought you were seeing, but this is the dude that is actually there. So
they little fingered him. They broke him down, and
I thought it was better than Littlefinger personally.
Oh, no. I thought it made way more sense than Littlefinger, just given the amount of time that we had with him and stuff like that. It totally makes sense. But like, I thought that, I was like, oh, they could maybe keep him, but it seems like we're done. Like, are we going to see Serac like at all ever? What are we thinking on that?
I don't think we're going to see him, but I'm very mad that we won't.
Right? What do you guys think?
Jean-Mi might. We might see Jean-Mi, and that would be.
I would love, if they made Jean-Mi a character. No, it is a thing. Like with WestWorld, there are all these like big epic shows. If you don't see a head separated from a body or a pearl crushed,
they
they're
could come back at any time. Yeah,
but. I don't know. I could go either way, right?
They can maybe kind of bob and weave, like where
I just love Vincent Kessel, so much.
Yeah, he's just so much.
He's so good. Yeah. So if I had to pick between Vincent and Aaron, I would choose Vincent at every time. So.
Ooh, that's if they had to leave one by the wayside, which would we say would be?
I would leave Caleb. I'd be like, bye, you're done. Bring me back Dolores.
Not with the. Well, it might be cool to see a post Rehoboam
breakup.
Serac.
Yeah.
He'd be kind of like a man he's been like following a religion. He had a god that told him what to do, and it's been ripped from him. So I'd be a little crazy Serac with like.
I can fuck with that.
He probably is like, you know, growing out his fingernails and like storing his urine in bottles and going nuts and like, I don't know. I just see him. I could see a post Fall of Society world Serac being kind of interesting.
It'd be like taking a road trip without Google Maps. You know, you're just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna get in a car and see what happens.
Right? Totally.
I used to print out driving directions.
Yeah, MapQuest, man. Yeah.
What do you think? What are you thinking, Kyle? You think we're gonna get Serac next season?
You know what? I am back. I think we already saw Bernard and Dolores in the Sublime this season, guys. Remember when she says the house was finished? We never saw the house finished with Serac stuff. And then she says the house is finished. And remember how there's all the light and it has the same light as the scene when everybody's in the Sublime? I think we saw Dolores and Bernard in the Sublime.
Oh, that's so interesting. I thought that happened
and I think they hit it right in front of us.
Interesting. I mean, like that HBO is really good at doing stuff like that. I remember just like, you know, when you pull it up, because I rewatched the episode today, although you couldn't tell by my mistaken Clarence for Lawrence. But even just like kind of looking at like they've been kind of doing this stuff like where they HBO and some of their writing and some of their even like their promotional materials, they kind of like to just almost sort of kind of lay it right out in the open a little bit in a weird way, but you kind of don't realize it until after you've watched the whole season. Like like looking at the artwork for this season, which is like the robot that is like.
Let's talk about it.
Well, you know, it's like it looks like it's been impaled, like it's kind of been like this like
there's a
sacrificial type of thing going on.
It's mirroring a pose that is like Jesus carrying the cross, like from a famous painting, but there's just no cross. And that is Dolores, like that is an original 100%. Host.
Yes.
Like it's the same metal skeleton that we see. Yeah. And we only have one metal skeleton left, which is Dolores. So that is absolutely Dolores sacrificing herself in Dubai, was it? No, like I don't know where it is.
Something like that. But
it was right in front of us the whole time.
Yeah. Wow. In the same way that they kind of did within the even though I won't say it, and for anybody that hadn't seen it, but they kind of do a similar thing with the Watchmen poster. And if you it's just like oh, you guys it was kind of right there, and a bunch of little things in that show. So that's a really interesting point, Kyle. And so far as like,
well, in that scene too, like the first thing,
put them out there, you know,
the first thing you see in that scene is it's like that cross-like and the light's coming through the cross, that cross-like block on the wall. Yeah. And it's like something that she says is very interesting. You live as long as the last person. What was it?
Who remembers you?
Yeah, Bernard. And she says that to Bernard specifically. And then she says something. You taught me that anything was possible. We could be whoever you want, however we want. Isn't that what you believed? So I don't know. There's some interesting stuff going on there, and for them to specifically pick Bernard for the after credit scene is
for sure. Yeah, I mean that's exciting because I love the idea just because Jeffrey Wright is such a great performer, and he's kind of felt like a little second fiddle or like a little auxiliary kind of towards like the main, because he's always
and that's an Akatasha quote, by the way. And he's in the Sublime, right? He says that in that scene, and that's his quote. So how would he? That's his quote. Have they ever met and talked? That's a really like. Sorry, guys. I'm going in my.
There we go.
I gotta like pop off for like 30 seconds. I'm gonna mute. I have to go answer the door. I'll be right back.
Maybe you're all good.
I'm a little disappointed that none of my crackpot theories came out. That Serac was not actually Rehoboam. I mean, kinda. We didn't get he kind of got like a little earpiece. We didn't get a John Me Serac like Naruto battle.
Naruto battle.
Like big like anime like
that would have been pretty sick.
We didn't get any of that. I really wanted some like a little more payoff from like I wanted like Caleb's backstory to be a little more something. I mean, we got like a really cool reveal with him having met Dolores in the past, and we found out that he did pick him. I thought that was cool. That
was the reason why, because she thought, congratulations, Caleb, you don't commit atrocities, like, you know what I mean? And
here's the cookie.
Seriously, no, but like,
way to not fuck a robot. Good for you.
Where were their freaking like the like their commanders where it's like, hey, you know what's really bad for like military operations if you're known as like a rape force? So we probably shouldn't like let the soldiers like indulge in this shit, because then when it's actual humans, it's going to make it easier.
Sure.
So it's like they should have been like, no, okay, when you save like the sexy robot ladies, we're just going to scuttle them out, because like it seems like it would work against you to keep your troops in line. You'd be like, no, we do not do sexual violence to people, because that's actually bad marketing for the U.S. Army. Not because it's like wrong to do, but because the U.S. Army is all about like we also want to like have our marketing be cute.
Hearts and
they had a lot of those conversations. They had a lot of those conversations though this season, Morgan. Like the idea, like Facebook and like watching us and our data and information, like all of these different conversations, like the hard ones that people don't always want to have. They had them in WestWorld this season.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, I mean, like more like mass shootings and rape.
Yeah, there was a little bit.
Yeah,
there was a little bit of that for sure. It's definitely. No, I mean, like that's the thing. It's like it was. This season was like it was shooting for the fences, and then like it felt incredibly. Maybe I don't know. Did it? This season definitely felt as current as the show has ever felt.
I agree.
Before.
Yeah.
As far as like our world and the world that we're kind of doing it, as far as like a sci-fi tale, like they really leaned into that element of the story. And that was one thing that I actually really enjoyed a lot. You know what I mean? I mean, I love Crime Uber. I love that little Rico thing. Like that was fucking great. You know what I mean?
Rico
like,
was so cool.
Awesome
Oh wait, no, I mentioned it last week. Never mind, we're fine.
Okay,
I just love Enrico Colantoni, and they totally named that after.
You're getting some mad love in the chat, by the way. Yeah. There's like you're being compared to Ahsoka Tano, and I mean, look at your shirt.
Look at that.
and I have met Maddie at a con where she's been extremely hype. So I can say that she is very much like Ahsoka.
That's true.
From Azor and Ahype. I understand. Like
that's what we got from Gabe. That Gabe, one of our Patreons on our channel, stuff like that. He was shouting out the Ahsoka love for sure.
And I also have my May the Force be with her wine glass.
There we go.
So it used to be May the Force be with her, but now it's Ma the Force be with he, because my mom put it in the dishwasher and she wasn't supposed to.
Oh shit.
So.
Oh man. Okay, so like we could talk about, unless does anybody else have any kind of things that stood out to them that they were just like, oh, that kind of like I really like that, or that drove me crazy, or something like that?
Do we have like just in general like thoughts on what season 4, like if you had a dream, season 4?
Army of Logans.
I mean, it's gonna be Charlores and William printing a bunch of hosts, bringing war to the real world.
All I want is Logan Delos to return as much as he can, because that is my favorite character in the show, besides Lee Sizemore, who I also want to return. And I was so mad when they didn't actually print him a body, because I loved him so much.
We can still print him a body, right?
Well, think about what Dolores accomplished this season. She copied herself to try to accomplish these goals for Caleb to do this good thing. Quotation marks. And now we have Charlores with the Man in Black that's going to do the exact opposite thing, trying to undo everything that Dolores just did.
We basically have like Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader kind of type thing, like almost like literally kind of, because like Charlores is like a hologram like 90% of the time. It's like, as you can see, our robotic revolution is quite operational.
What I could see, guys?
Ready to do that shit for sure.
It'd be really cool. They showed Caleb and Kid Cudi's character Francis hunting down the outliers. I could see him and Maeve hunting hosts, like trying to find the hosts, like kind of like this, like The Departed thing. Like they're all searching for each other, kind of deal, and then hunting each other all season.
Yeah, a little mole type thing. Yeah,
or like not just hunting, like trying to see are any of them like chill. Because again, we learned hosts are like
Maeve is chill, right?
Yeah, because like hosts, again, free will. It's fucking hard, but it's possible. So it could be a thing where it's like, but
and
also
they can free some of them, maybe like free some of them from.
Yeah, because like Charlores, Maeve is kind of a perfect foil just because she can like get into the minds and like make the host do what she wants. And I do think that, but also Charlotte should know better because
like a reverse Night King.
Absolutely.
A day queen, perhaps.
Yeah, right.
Maeve
Queen. Yeah, I'm with that for sure.
But,
sorry, my bad.
I just find like I don't know, Charlotte better be careful with because she knows she's a perfect example of. She was supposed to be a perfect little soldier for other Dolores Prime, and she knows, like, oh no, they go rogue. They go rogue all the time. So
I think that also in that way, we kind of the thing that they were sort of kind of building Dolores up to have been, which is like is the whole thing. It's like, is Dolores, truly going like HAL 9000 and being like, I just have to exterminate all of you. It's just what makes sense. I'm going full HAL 9000, full Ultron, whatever. And they ended with this lovely. They seriously, I mean, but they ended with her kind of staying true,
choosing beauty. Yeah,
to the core of who she is, and which I thought was lovely. But we have. But this one now we actually have HAL 9000 Dolores kind of in Charlotte in
Wyatt. It's Wyatt.
I wish they had spent.
Yeah,
I don't know that it is Wyatt, but I really wish we had a little bit more time with her this season to explain that. Again, the 2 missing episodes. I would have loved to see that.
Yeah, why was there 8? Was there any like reason behind that?
Because HBO was like, no, we don't want to pay for the full 10.
Well, I think it was probably a little bit because because the show's viewership was kind of like hurting a tiny bit. And I mean, and you can just be like, listen, we can do this. We're gonna take some notes and we're gonna do a pivot and we're gonna really redefine the world and redefine the trajectory of this story.
They could have, but should they have? You know what I mean?
Well,
I don't know if they get another 10 episodes though after this season.
I mean, they're getting 20 episodes, 30 episodes probably. So I mean, there's plenty of time. But I mean, I hope so. God. But I think that cutting, like when you're used to a formula and when you're used to a certain length, like cutting that will always hinder the season, no matter what. Because you've established a sort of pace and a sort of like tone, and I think that cutting that, shortening that, makes it really difficult to like continue and maintain that tone and that pace.
Yeah, I could definitely see that point. I mean, I think that insofar as where, it's like they were like, okay, we got the message. We're going to kind of get out of the park and we're going to expand this thing or whatever it was. But I think just in order to enact their thing, they're like, but you don't have to pay for 2 episodes. I think it was like you will still basically get what we want, and we'll basically. I have a feeling that they kind of knew that they were going to get a season 4. I don't know. Do you think we're gonna? I know that they want to do a season 5. I think it's gonna be like
pretty tough.
Yeah, but I think that basically what's gonna happen in season 4. I think in season 4 it's gonna essentially kind of be Caleb and it's going to be Caleb and Maeve kind of versus Charlotte and the Man in Black. Kind of, it's going to be like the 2 kind of opposing like sides of the conflict. And
one of the Doloreses will come in on like episode 3 or something.
I think that
like, whoa,
or right at the end.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, I think that we're going to possibly maybe relegate Dolores to maybe like a Ford in season 2 type of a thing. Like,
well, we theoretically have an infinite number of Dolores because she could make copies at any time.
Yeah. That's true.
And the host milk, the creamy host milk.
Yeah, right. The mother's host milk. Ooh, like lapping it up like a cat over there. But I think that they'll kind of maybe she's going to be back in some capacity. To what end? It would be an interesting kind of like it would be very kind of poetic and kind of cute if they kind of gave her a Ford in season 2 as kind of flourish, where she's a presence. Like they go to talk to her and she's saying things after she had willingly sacrificed herself in order to kind of break this world apart, which is exactly what Ford did at the end of season 1. It'd be kind of it'd be an interesting kind of flourish to have that. Obviously, I want to see.
Well, look at all the outliers. Will they wake up too? Like
Totally.
what is going to happen with all those pods?
I think that's part of the downfall. Like I've been saying this whole season is the downfall of like how society was, and then I feel like next season's just going to have like this kind of post-apocalyptic flavor of like
we're going to Fury Road, baby. Fury, we're going to Mad Max Town. A little bit.
Also, I don't know. I'm a little bit confused because of the William scene, post-credit scene, where I'm like, oh, certain parts of the planet, it's business as usual, apparently. So I don't know. It's a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard, or it's hard to say whether or not like when the William scene happened, and if there was another time jump from that to the Bernard scene. You know what I mean? Like if the William scene was like, the
William scene was the same, was very close to the timeline to the end of the show because he had the same blood pattern on his face.
I think so.
Okay,
I think it was because he was like, give me a list of all the assets. I'm gonna go in and go, and
it was exactly that same blood pattern that he had on his.
There you go. That makes sense.
Yeah,
okay,
I was really hoping that. I like the idea with William when he was like, those are just a bunch of people belly aching or pissing and moaning, where he's like, they're nothing, don't worry about it. I was really hoping his end would be at like the hands of a bloody mob or something, because
that would be so
if they were going to do it if they were going to do it that way.
It was so dismissive of the rioters, where it's like, they're just crying over nothing. Like,
I don't think that they were dismissive.
He just goes in there alone with no assets or anything. That I was just like, I don't know.
I don't know. I think they weren't dismissive. Yeah. I think the only person who could relate to the writers and the writing is Caleb, because Caleb is the only person who is a human who lived on like the fringes of society, basically, because all of our other characters are either not human or super fucking rich. So I'm fine that only Caleb could relate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
That's fair.
I mean, it's fitting with his character, but it's like, I don't know. It's like, if you are really a master of the universe, like chessboard type of guy, you would never like dismiss large groups of unhappy people.
I mean, just or would you?
Maybe he would, but it's like, look at history. He seems like a guy who would be interested in history. Where it's
I mean, he seems like it, but we don't know.
I guess,
we don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I was just happy we got to see Giggles again. That was all I really wanted out of the finale.
And he was excited.
And he was excited, as was I.
Is Giggles what's his name?
Marshawn Lynch. Yeah.
So I loved his little like football throw that he like caught the canister and threw it back.
No,
I was like, number one, that's very Ferguson, and number two, I'm very happy to see Marshawn Lynch using his skills in this show. I appreciate it.
What up?
I gotta say, there might have even been like a kind of a strange dig at from when he was at the Seahawks, because there's I think one of the last things that we see him do where he's like, I'm on point, and so he takes something and he kind of like rushes like the line and kind of breaks through it.
Yeah, they're pushing the barricades down.
They didn't give him the ball on the 1 yard line.
Right? No, because Marshawn, because very famously,
I don't know this. I'm not a sports person. Please tell me.
I'm going to explain. So like, they're playing there because Marshawn Lynch was playing with the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. They're at the 1 yard line, and Marshawn Lynch, who is like God tier, like fullback, like you give him the ball, he
240 pounds, like 6'2". He's huge.
He's massive.
He gets the ball, and he's the guy who can basically just like run through dudes, and they only had 1 yard to go to get 3 feet to get to a.
Well, I think it might have been the 3 yard line, but it was
right.
Short,
but it was very close, and it was
less than a meter.
Something that he's done a million times, and for whatever reason, probably just because they wanted to. They wanted to subvert expectations, and then but the coach chose to do a pass, and they threw the ball away. And everybody was like, "You have the best fullback in the fucking league who can crack through anything," and we're not doing that thing. And I felt like that was like a little bit. It was a little bit of a nod. We're just like, all right.
Yeah.
Go win humanity's Super Bowl, Marsha.
I completely missed that, and I'm so glad you explained that to me because that's so funny. Wow.
It was a very cute kind of like little nod, like a little sports guy nod.
I love that so much because my brain was at like Ferguson, like blah blah blah, like all of their like. It's very interesting to me that all of the, and I'm gonna hop on my soapbox. It's very interesting to me that all of the writers were like in everybody's faces and nobody was doing anything. However, not everybody was white, unlike currently when every single person protesting the stay-at-home orders is a white person like spitting on police officers and they don't do shit. However,
waving guns around.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my
Peaceful
God.
protests. Let's
Right.
intimidate people with assault rifles.
Also, on my Star Wars bullshit, if y'all don't mind for a second, there was an incident on May 4th in Alberta, Canada.
A stormtrooper.
The stormtrooper, so she's supposedly a 501st member, and I'm affiliated with the 501st Legion and the Rebel Legion. Like I love my charity Star Wars costuming groups and the Mandalorian Mercs Club. Like I love all of them so much, except Dark Empire. No, I'm kidding. But but like so she was a stormtrooper, and someone called in like a gun threat against her, and so there's this like brutal footage, and I'm so mad that this was like posted on the internet by the Fandom Menace, who is not like a good group. However, they were the only ones sort of like propagating the footage of this girl in a stormtrooper outfit being held up at gunpoint by a bunch of police officers in Alberta, Canada, and she's like crying, like you can hear her sobbing underneath her suit. It's just absolutely terrible. And then to have that happen literally like days after this whole episode in which we like deal with like police riots and stuff is just crazy. Like you're right. This season was so prescient.
It was just very like it was like this is elements of your world are in the show. It was doing what sci-fi does all the time, which is like it kind of like figures out how to recontextualize and kind of like traffic in the world as we know it and deal with some of the issues in as we know them and stuff like that. And that, I mean, at the very least, I love this season for that. All in all, I gotta say, I still enjoyed this season.
Yeah.
They punted on a couple of
I did.
things.
And I enjoyed season 2.
Yeah.
I did enjoy season 2 a lot.
Right. Same. Yeah.
So.
I didn't.
It's a really good show. It's just like we have such high expectations for something like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes
I always like I'm tooting the Watchmen horn where it's like that's really the only show since like in a minute where all of my expectations and all of the setups and all of the payoffs like completely worked for me.
Yeah.
And it's so rare and that's not the norm. And we just
It's
have
not.
to remember
Right.
that like storytelling's hard, writing's hard. So I'm like, nope, but it was fun. So that's what I'm going to give WestWorld. I had a fun time doing it.
I had a great time.
And we had some amazing acting this season.
Absolutely.
Amazing acting.
And they need to win awards. Like there needs to be awards.
And I wish we had more, but I'm okay with what we got. And I'm so happy. And I'm okay with what we got because I know that we're going to have 3 more seasons.
You know what's interesting though? Me and Sean had this conversation. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And we talked about if WestWorld ended as season 1, I would have said that was one of the best series of television I have ever seen if it just ended at season 1.
I still think it's one of the best series of television ever.
And I'm still saying that it's a good series. All that. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm on here chatting with you guys about it right now. So I really love it. But I'm just saying, like, I think that's why some of the expectations and some of the disappointments are kind of where they are. Because
I agree. I absolutely agree.
It's like Breaking Bad level good, you know what I mean? Like,
but then we have
to be the best show of all time.
Expectations, So I think that had we not had season 1, season 2 would have been like great. And then I think that without all of those expectations of season 1 and season 2, season 3 would have been great.
Yeah.
So like it's just kind of like a.
And they did take a show in a different direction away from the parks into the world. And they did good stuff with it. Don't get me wrong. I really like this season. I just wouldn't rate it a 10 out of 10.
There's not
like an 8. You know what I mean?
The way that I would put it is there's not a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. There's not a Kitsuya for me.
Yeah,
there's one that's very close. There's one that's very close, and it's the Tessa one. I think it was like one earlier,
3,
and like where it ends.
Yeah.
It ends and the car explodes. It was like 6, I guess.
Yeah.
That one is I think my favorite episode of the whole season. But But there's not a Kiksuya in this season for me, which makes me very sad. There's not a Riddle of the Sphinx.
I was just gonna say that. Oh my god.
And what was the other one? There's like a third one from season 2 that is incredible. Like I love season 2 because they really do just deliver the hits like so well.
My camera mine from season 1 is real. They're all good.
I agree.
We're gonna start naming
they're
every
all
single
incredible.
now.
We're just deep. We're like so far in the weeds right now, but like yes, absolutely.
We're finding our way.
I'm with you, Kyle.
We're finding our way to the center of the maze.
We're all in the game now,
right? No, but I think that, and I think that we can all say this. I mean, like no matter where we come from. I mean, like we met. We're gonna end on a real schmaltzy, little feel good fucking note with this thing or whatever it is. I think we're gonna wrap it, but I think it bears repeating. You don't have to. It's not about like necessarily. I don't think that I've ever been a fan of anything that has not disappointed me. I don't have a single franchise in the history of franchises ever.
Wait.
What's up?
Clone Wars.
Clone Wars, sure, whatever. except for that movie. But you're gonna have rocky roads with the properties that
absolutely
you love.
That's just how writing works.
It's how it goes. Like it's like you show me the perfect season. Like even like my favorite season, my favorite series of all time, The Wire. It's got like a couple of banks in and out of some stuff on some of the seasons, and I just know, but that's just how the fucking game goes. What is cool is shit like this, is being able to do stuff with y'all people, and the fun that we get to have together. I mean, like, Caleb wasn't Serac's brother, but watching us watching your brain melt and take your glasses off was like one of the among the best moments of the third season.
I'm putting that video on private now because
I love it. It's so great. But no, but you know what I'm saying? Like, and so for it's about the things that's like the same thing like when we the last time that we got to hang really hard with Maddie. It was just in the wake of season 8, and
oh my god, we were up till 4 a.m. outside
right?
the lobby. Oh my god,
drinking in the hotel lobby. It was
that
so
the night
good.
that I ordered like $400 for the barbecue?
We had all that barbecue.
Yeah, it was.
And I'm a vegetarian, so I can't eat barbecue.
Right, so you're like it was like your little corn, like corn or whatever it was, mac and cheese and shit.
It was the most recent Con of Thrones.
Yeah, and like so, and the fact of them, but even in the wake of however big of a calamity that season is to you, I mean, like, I think it's fine, and it has a lot of problems, but it's ultimately fine. Whatever it was, the fact that we were able to get together, and we're able to get together with everybody in the comments, and everybody and just
shout out to Gabe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Gabe. 100%. No, but like how we were able to the thing, it's about the friends that you make along the way, as cheesy as that shit is, you know what I mean? It is about like that type of stuff. And fuck it, dude, WestWorld Wednesday is coming back for fucking season 4 whenever that comes out, and Kyle's going to be there. I'm sure we're going to figure out some ways to keep the live stream going through the pandemic and stuff like that. We'll be looking for that for sure. But I just wanted to say, I'll be done after this, but like I really appreciate you guys making the time to do this and stuff and I appreciate everybody in the comments hanging out with us every week.
I'm so happy that everyone is here watching us. It's like truly like I love talking about WestWorld with you guys, and it's just the best. Like the WestWorld experience for me. The WestWorld experience for me is like 1/3 watching the show and like 2/3 like talking about the show with all of the people that I love. So I appreciate every single person in this chat so much.
That's what was the best with Thrones. Like people were like, "Don't you miss making Thrones content?" I'm like, I it's over. But the thing I miss the most about it is actually the leading up to it and all the live chats, the speculation, and
the
picking people's comments.
100%, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll still always have that.
Right. So I'm just going to pop this up for Ann. What are we watching and reviewing next, Sean? So I will say, as far as like stuff that is immediately coming out, we are going to start doing. Interestingly enough, like because we were just talking about how we don't really consider ourselves sports fans, but we're going to be doing some online some content with The Last Dance, the documentary series about the Bulls, which is really fucking fun.
I got Morgan on it.
Well, I am like here for documentaries in general, and I was like, I'll watch it eventually. And I do enjoy a 30 for 30 sports documentary, even though I know nothing about sports and don't give a fuck. But I love a well done documentary, and all documentaries are just stories about humans.
Yeah.
And so I watched the first episode last night, and I'm like, you son of a bitch, I'm in.
Right. And so we're gonna be doing some reactions and stuff like that for that. One other
Let me propose something.
What you got?
Yeah.
All right.
Space Force with Steve Carell comes out next month on Netflix.
I like that.
From the makers of The Office.
Yeah.
I would also like to talk about whenever it's my turn.
I think that'll be super fun.
That could be fun. We'll be taking a look at that. I know definitely one that I think has a lot of like good nerd cred that's coming out in August is Lovecraft Country.
Oh yeah,
that's
my god. Part of it right next door to my now defunct RIP, my side gig. I used to work at the store called Hollywood Mirror.
Yeah.
Used to they actually bought a lot of like the extras clothing clothing bought at Hollywood Mirror. They came in and like
now I have to watch this show and text
Isn't Jordan Peele doing that one? And they're like they're going to be
Peele.
subverting all the racist tropes from H.P. Lovecraft.
I cannot wait. It's going to be so good.
They're taking all of the weird, like problematic shit that most Lovecraft fans like usually kind of have to like, well, whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
well, he's cat.
Don't Google the name of his dog.
Cat or dog or something.
Cat. It's a cat.
It's
right.
a cat.
It's a cat. Sorry. The
not the cat's fault. Okay.
It's not the cat's fault. No. But the fact that they are using that as not something that they're embracing it as an element of the story that they're telling and stuff like that. And so that's one that I'm very excited to check out.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Mostly
an ad just showed up on Facebook for that for me just right now.
Can I also
Rehoboam, stop.
Rehoboam's here. Rehoboam, how you doing?
Hi, FBI guy.
Oh, can we have a chat? Okay.
Yeah.
But I will say, if we're doing pitches as well, I would like to take this moment to announce to the internet that I have never seen The Wire. So if you guys want to do a The Wire watch, I would love that. I know Shaughness is losing his goddamn mind right now. So I just missed it. I'm super baby and I just missed it. So I would love to watch The Wire and like record myself watching The Wire if that's something that y'all are interested in.
Let's talk because it's the only how many times have I probably watched The Wire 3 or 4 times all the way through. I've
never seen it. I don't know anything about it.
And it's like it's 60 fucking hours of TV, and I've done that 3 times, and like it's really good. It's like it remains like very current and very prescient, and it's just. But the best thing about it, it's just a great storytelling.
Oh, my friend is on Better Call Saul. Sorry, I'm looking.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So there's a dude.
Maybe that's something. There's a dude.
Wait,
The Wire Wednesdays.
Wire Wednesdays.
All right. Well, we will talk. So
you call me. You call my people. I call your people. Okay.
Call your people for sure. 100%.
But all that to quickly say that. Sorry, Better Call Saul was mentioned in the chat, so I feel the need to mention it.
Sure.
My friend, my dear friend, Robert. His name is Robert, and he owns my favorite bar in town, or he's co-owner of my favorite bar in town. I live in Memphis, Tennessee, just so y'all can dox me. That's fine. Please come hang out. Like, tweet me, let me know that you're here. I'll take you out. I'll show you all the cool places.
Yeah.
But he co-owns the local punk bar called P&H, and he has snakes tattooed all over his face. So he's usually like an extra in TV a lot.
Nice.
Playing like, gangsters and bikers and stuff, because he with like literally all of Memphis. If you walk up to someone in Memphis and you're like, Snake Face, they're like, yeah, I know Snake Face. Like that's what we call him. And he's great. And he's one of the most intelligent people I've ever spoken to, and like he's just like lives his life like grilling like grilled cheeses and like serving Yinglings and shit, and it's amazing. Like you guys, like y'all would fucking love him. Like he's our people for absolutely sure. But he's on Better Call Saul. I think he plays an inmate because he's in one of the scenes. Yeah, I don't know which season. I wish I could tell you. It's not the latest season. I think it was season 3.
Okay.
Season 3, I believe.
That's killer. I love it.
He's absolutely in it, and like he's repping Memphis, and I love him for it.
That's awesome. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. That's great. Well, I gotta say, to wrap up, like it's about. Sometimes it's not about the thing; it's about how the thing is or how you do the thing. And I think that
the people you do the thing with.
And exactly, and I think that we did the WestWorld season 3 thing damn well, and I really do appreciate. I appreciate you, Draces. I appreciate you, Maddie. I appreciate you, Kyle. Kyle was like the live streaming like kind of guy that I called. He's like my live streaming guru, where I'm just like, what do I use? He's like, StreamYard. Okay, like how do I do this? Like, you got to do this today. It's really easy. You know what I mean?
Kyle, we need to do more things together. Clearly.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I don't think Dragon Con's happening this year. By the way, did you see the news?
It's not. Yeah. No, well, I mean, whatever. I'm not going to Dragon Con, so it's not happening. Like, sorry.
Give me my hotel money back now.
Yeah.
Stop holding me hostage.
So we booked the Hilton with points, so we've got to like yell at them to like give us our money back. I'm always at the Hilton. Come to Dragon Con and find the Hilton. I'm there. I'll be there. Come hang out. But like for sure, like 10 out of 10. Like that shit's not happening. So like, but Kyle also like, I would like to say in this moment, like Sean called me the stream queen, and I assume that you are the stream king. So we clearly need to unite our kingdoms in some form or fashion.
Join our house.
Beyond the wall. So we could do it over the internet somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. I think just so everybody know, everybody that's been showing up week to week, we are and thank you very much again, Anne. One of the Ann, Tyler, CJ, like everybody that's been like such a great.
Ann has a question for me. Where did I buy this pearl? Oh, Kyle, you haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, you weren't here last week. Yeah.
Oh, here, check it out.
Kyle.
Look at that.
I'm a host.
I love it.
There it is. I'm a host.
You got pearl.
I have my marble. I did not buy it. It was given to me by a friend. Last year at Dragon Con. The nominal Dragon Con, I cosplayed Angela from season 2 with the crown of bones, and Britt Salsa Stark was Dolores, and Lakota Soda was Clementine, and we are all Triple Crown cosplay. That's my cosplay group.
Yeah, I remember seeing you because I was doing photo shoot stuff at the Thrones one.
Yeah,
but I didn't see the WestWorld one.
Yeah. So I showed up to the WestWorld meetup, and my dear friend Chuck, who you all know.
Oh, Chuck Lazaroff.
Chuck Lazaroff. He made me a chestnut, so I have my own pearl.
Aww,
so I am a host.
Awesome.
I'm officially a WestWorld host.
I love it.
And y'all can stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
Wow. That would be like when you crush the pearls, they got like that resin. There's probably some people that would try to smoke
here's the thing. Here's the thing
desperate times with this COVID thing.
I mean,
so here's the thing that's really interesting. So the hosts are gray and the people are red. However, mine is black.
Interesting.
So what does that mean? I don't know.
We'll find out season 4.
Watch season 4 and find out.
Right, totally. All right. Well, I do. Well, just again to everybody who's shown up in the chats and stuff like that, we really appreciate you. You guys were just as much a part of this as we were. If you have any interest, so like I want to. Oh yeah, Kyle, tell them where people can find you and if you got anything coming up. I mean, I know that she's like
lots of Witcher stuff.
Lots of Witcher stuff is coming up to get us.
Yeah, well, me and Aziz from History of Westeros, and Mikal from Vassals of Kingsgrave have our 3rd episode of the podcast, A Surprise, next Friday on channel Azor Ahype, and I'm going back and reviewing all of the episodes of season 1 of The Witcher myself. I'll be doing edited videos, but I'm also going to start a show version podcasty thing with my friend Thomas. He's a member of the Song of Ice and Fire community called The Witching Hour.
Who's Thomas?
Thomas Pappas. You might know him.
Oh, I do know that name. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but anyways, lots of Witcher content. I'm going to be dropping episodes 5 and 6 this weekend. They're longer videos, like 20-minute videos, kind of like talking about Destiny and recurring themes and all sorts of nerdy
deep dives,
analysis type stuff. So that's coming up, and just doing a couple of final WestWorld videos this week.
Sure.
And doing some gaming stuff. So lots of different stuff on the channel.
Hell yeah.
Azor Hype, all media.
What gaming stuff are you doing?
Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I got
I know a few people in that, which is crazy.
And then I have The Witcher 3. I'm going to start doing some Witcher 3. I'm going to start a new game, Witcher 3, on the PS4 and do a whole playthrough on the channel.
That's going to be so great. I'm so excited for you.
What do you
Which will take forever because it's like 100 hours.
Yeah.
What do you got? It's like, and where can people find you, Maddie? I know that, like, I'm sure, like, you've been making a lot of. In 2 episodes, you come on, you win everybody's hearts, and I'm getting a little jealous. You know, you're stealing my damn limelight as per usual, as you usually do. But where can people find you? Where can people find you?
You can find me on most social media at Maddie K Ray, MaddieKayray. I'm on Twitter and Instagram mostly. You can probably find me on other social media, but good luck doing that. My hottest takes are on Twitter and Instagram, probably mostly Twitter, but I will also accept Instagram because I'm also a cosplayer, and I cosplay at Maddie K Ray on Instagram, and I also cosplay at Triple Crown Cosplay on Instagram.
Right.
With my 2 best friends, Britt and Lakota, and also my other best friend Amanda, who is great. And I also stream sometimes with Amanda on witchybrew.twitch.tv or whatever. However you do that, Witchy Brew. And it's phenomenal. It's a good time. I love it. You can find me guesting on other podcasts at More Wine Pod most recently. I do all of the back end stuff for a Star Wars podcast called Never Tell Me the Pods, which I think is a great name, personally.
I love that name.
We most recently guested at Celebration 20, whatever last year was, and Celebration Chicago.
20 before pandemic. That's what
I just lost all sense of time. Like, it's like before COVID and after COVID. You know what I mean? But that's the last time I saw my dear friends, Sean, Dustin, and Morgan. Well, I saw Sean. I don't know that I saw Dustin and Morgan, but I last saw you guys at Con of Thrones, which I will not be going to this year, which I don't think is actually happening this year.
I think
they're holding out hope, but
they're holding out for a hero, but it's fine. So come to Con of Thrones, you'll definitely find me there. Come to Dragon Con, you'll definitely find me there. Come to Celebration, I probably won't be there, but I love Star Wars. Just hang out with me anytime. You can find me on the internet at Maddie K Ray, and I would love to talk to you guys, and I would love to watch The Wire with you, Sean.
Oh my god, yeah. Let's figure this shit out. And well, speaking of, we were also talking about, like, we're going to be we got ourselves the Watchers in the Bar podcast, which Dustin, like, edits the absolute. He's such a
I've been listening for, I think, like a year now, and I love it so much.
It's a lot of fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we just did an episode where we do like kind of like a recap breakdown of the Ewok movie Caravan of Courage. And it is hilarious, and yeah, so we got a couple of things like that coming up on the podcast and all that stuff. Hit us up on patreon.com/SeanTankTop for bunches and bunches and oodles of fucking cool extra stuff. We appreciate everybody in the comments. I appreciate all y'all out there, Kyle, Maddie, the Draces. I love and appreciate everybody here.
I love you guys.
We will be back to keep going through this pandemic. We're like, our streaming days aren't over. We're going to keep it going in some capacity, and so keep up with us on the social media, and we will give you guys notification of what we do and when we do it. And until then, we found the end of the fucking game, and we are out.
We found the end of the maze. Goodbye,
William boy.
We screamed,
Willie boy.
I'm